preview of my thesis is that Herzog and Kinski are both like quintessentially European artists in the same way that Lars von Trier is. In like listening to them, you understand deeply like I am not like that, but I can see the way you see the world. And Werner Herzog has this video where like an American's asking him how many languages he speaks. And he's like, he lists them off. He's like, well, German and English and ancient Greek and Latin and Spanish and he says French, and then he goes on the story. He's like, one time I was in Africa and I was captured by these natives and they had guns and they were looking at me. And then he just goes on and he has to talk to them, and they said I had to speak French. I must speak French. And so I can speak French. Like, that's why he says it. Like, someone quote tweeted and was like y'all, like, Werner Herzog an imperialist. And I was like, I'm like, that's not wrong. But, like, basically being an artist is, like, having, like, 20% self-awareness to be like, isn't that weird? This is the way I see the world. It's full of these, like, exotic, dangerous natives who want to kill me. And I have a camera and I look at them.
Taking a close look at what's around us, there is some sort of a harmony. It is the harmony of overwhelming and collective murder. And we, in comparison to the articulate vileness and baseness and obscenity of all this jungle, we, in comparison to that enormous articulation, we only sound and look like badly pronounced and half-finished sentences out of a stupid suburban novel, a cheap novel.
We are here with the third of 26 movie episodes.
Yeah, this month.
that I am doing with returning guest Andrew. How are you, Andrew?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm not bad.
September in New England. It's beautiful out.
It's a nice day out. Trees have not turned yet.
We're inside.
I have the window open just for a little bit of
yeah.
Maybe you can hear background noise. There's
lucky you.
Bugs making noise.
The listener.
Yeah. Wherever you are. You're not probably in balmy New England.
Yeah.
You're also probably not sitting here while the 1979 film Nosferatu the Vampire. Any other ways of pronouncing that we want to share? Vampire. Is playing in the background on mute through the free streaming service Tubi. Best way to watch any movie.
Shout out Tubi. Tubi's got a large film library of a lot of films that are kind of difficult to find on the internet, and they play you some absolutely ridiculous commercials.
The catch, the only catch is a lot of free stuff. People wonder, are you using my data, manipulating me in some way? The only catch is you have to watch between 20 to 30 algorithmically generated advertisements that seem like they're in a Paul Verhoeven movie.
12 of them starring Ice-T.
Yeah, Ice-T is going to do three different companies in one ad sequence.
6 years ago, this is what I would do my slightly racist Ice-T impression, but I think we've moved past that as a society.
This podcast is about growth, everybody. Yeah, we were talking about the 1979 movie Nosferatu the Vampire, directed by the one and only Werner Herzog, who you might know from internet memes, from Roger Ebert's glowing reviews of his work.
Years of support.
Yeah. I read, there was like, I was going through his Wikipedia and it's like, read his manifesto about ecstatic truth. And it's like 75 words. Yeah. Like I thought it was like the reviewers are billing it as this statement on his art. And he clearly just like sat down and like, yeah, I just wanted to share a thought I had. They're like, this is a manifesto for greatness.
That's classic. How many paragraphs does this have to be?
It's 12 points, but it's 12 sentences. Yeah, like, it's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Some of which are like 5 words. Why did I pick this movie? Honestly, I'm not really sure. It was just like I wanted to pick an old Werner Herzog movie.
Kind of one of those like spin the globe, put your finger down. I feel at least there's not enough conversation surrounding Herzog, and even when there is, I feel like sometimes it's not actually focused on like his he was making a lot of films back then.
Yeah.
And they were mainly narrative films.
Yep. He was cranking them out.
Yeah, it's after this that he kind of goes heavy with the documentaries, right? But in the 70s he really puts out a lot of, and I just feel like this is one of the planet's great filmmakers. Like There should be more people podcasting, tweeting. What are other forms of conversation?
Doesn't matter. You heard it. Start a hashtag Werner Herzog. Just add
There
it
should
to
be
your
more
tweets.
Discord channels about Werner
Did you want a
Herzog.
Discord chat? Each channel about his different movies.
Yeah.
You hop back and forth. I picked it because Werner Herzog, famously German man, it's written all over him. And he is like, for how many people do you think, when they think of like a German man, Werner Herzog is like, even if they don't know his name, that's the person who jumps into their mind. They're like, oh yeah, that old guy with the funny accent.
Yeah, I think he checks a lot of the boxes. If you were in Germany and you were playing The Sims and you randomly generated Grandpa,
It's so funny you say that because
it's him.
I treated my Sims the way Werner Herzog treats his actors. like that black and white tile floor in the upstairs. You close it in. You put in speakers, and then you start a fire in the corner.
Good luck getting out of the bathroom. Yeah. Remove the ladder from the swimming pool so nobody can get out.
I got all day. I could type in Rosebud as much as I want. I have unlimited money. I can put in tarantulas. I can bomb your building.
What's great about Herzog doing this is that it's really a story about like men and people and towns and death, and like in the middle he just can't help himself, and he's like, dude, this mountain is hard to climb.
Yeah, that is every Herzog movie. He's
like, it's gonna take you a while to get there.
I want to talk about Werner Herzog, and we have to talk about his partner in Team Rocket, which is Klauskinski. Klauskinski, for those who don't know, is an absolutely insane German.
Very talented, insane German.
He was also born around the same time. He's older than Herzog. Fought in World War II. I don't know if you saw that part. And was like captured on the second day of fighting by the British. He has some romantic story about how he was.
Oh right, he's German. That just clicked for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Captured by the British.
Literally.
I was like, what was he doing?
He was trying to. Yeah, he was freaking out all the other soldiers. He was actually on the boat at Omaha Beach. Like they had to cut this out of Saving Private Ryan, but he's like staring at all the other.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure I got this in. Speaking of Saving Private Ryan and Steven Spielberg, I don't know if you know this, but Kinski was offered the lead villain role in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Did you read this?
I did.
Did you read the quote?
I forget it, so please say it again.
Kinski on the script of Raiders of the Lost Ark. The script is a yawn-making, boring pile of shit and moronically shitty. which is, I don't want to sound like, pop cinema stan John Krasinski here, but it's funny because Raiders of the Lost Ark is a perfect movie.
Yeah. There's not enough long shots. There's not enough shots of Klauskinski as the villain running around a town square with his arms up like you're playing with your 2-year-old infant child trying to scare them, like, ooh.
Just being Reptar.
Klauskinski's writer is like, I need several children who think I'm God, and it will be mortally terrified of me. It's funny to say he requires children as his writer because famously, after he was died, both of his daughters claimed that he sexually abused them, or his eldest daughter claimed that in a memoir, and his second eldest daughter, pretty well-known actress, Natasha Kinski, right? Or does she have a different last name? Said that while he never assaulted her, that he was inappropriate with her. Yeah.
Hardly surprising.
The least surprising thing I've ever heard in my life. When he's captured by the British, apparently he does their acting, like he does what's it called when the comedians go to entertain the troops? PO tour.
USO stuff.
Yeah, USO. Yeah.
So
right? He
USO?
does that.
We're terribly sorry if we got that.
We're rolling with it. He does that for
we're pro-military.
For the other prisoners. He's just whatever.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
For the it's organized by the.
What an education!
Yeah, right. You're in the now. Talk about a scene. Werner Herzog must have dreamed of having something like that. Can we start World War III so that I can have my actors be literal prisoners of war? Because that's the only way they're going to really capture what it's like to be a Scottish man who really wants to ride horses.
Yeah. Who is the American Klauskinski? And you can't say Jared Leto.
It's just Jared Leto. What are you talking about? Jared Leto.
I think it's
absolutely was born not only the wrong generation, but the wrong continent.
It has
his
to be
art
like
would be appreciated.
There's like a little Nick Cage in there.
Oh yeah, no, sure, you're right. It is Nick Cage, who was in a Werner Herzog movie. He is absolutely
in Bad Lieutenant 2.
Yeah. I forgot if there's anything else I want to say about Klauskinski. Eventually, like you said, they have a dramatic meeting in a Munich boarding house where an impressionable 13-year-old Werner Herzog sees just a mentally ill man. He locks himself in the bathroom, just screams and rants, and Werner Herzog is like, "This is why I must film.
This is what I must do."
It's kind of confusing to be like because famously they have a very they're like any friends. Werner Herzog
friends have ups and downs.
Allegedly pulled a gun on him in the middle of the Amazon rainforest because he was threatening to walk off the set. They would go years without talking to each other, and then they just cast him in the next movie.
People offered to kill him for her.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, if I was an extra who had to work with him, I understand completely. Yeah, Werner Herzog only does movies where you can get away with murder, like him and Steven Seagal.
But like someone has to. Do you know what I mean? Where I think now we're getting into the, I don't know. I don't know how to
you have ideas
this.
about where the podcast is going? Because you fucking don't. Right? You sit there and talk, and I tell you to talk.
Line. But like you read about the stuff Kubrick did to Shelley Duvall in The Shining, and you're like, that should happen on every movie. No, guys, it shouldn't. But you guys, pick up what I'm putting down here.
In that movie where the woman got raped by Marlon Brando, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's.
See, Werner Herzog only puts you in nature. You know.
Yeah,
it reminds you that you are a human being. You're an animal on this planet. There's no better example than one Klauskinski, who is like, I am insane. I scream and yell all the time. And so you're going to have to put me in a movie where I scream and yell.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, I will make your movie come alive. And Werner Herzog apparently thought, yeah, he does. Because you can think at first, especially before I watch the movies, it's like, okay, if it's that much work, like why is it this like, no, I must keep working with him. I must go back to him. And I do think they are like a perfect pairing of artist and director who like have a certain idea about what art is. And Kinski's like, I am God on earth, and so everything should be all about me. And Herzog is like, I'm
he's at the will of the forces that be.
Yeah, like Herzog's not only Herzog's style, but like even his like preoccupation with nature is like this Kinski. He's just like he's like a feral animal.
Right. Yeah.
And so I like Nosferatu for two reasons to talk about in this podcast, which we'll start now. No, I'm just kidding. We'll keep some of that. Of the 5 films they did together, 3 take place in South America, and the other one was also we try to talk about Europe at least in some way on this Europe.
Yeah, I like
Europe-based podcast.
Save a couple of them.
And I also liked Nosferatu just because he like does have to act like he can't just be like, I'm a crazy guy who goes crazy. I'm a vampire, and he's a very good vampire. He's absolutely himself. Like he just plays himself in the movie, like kind of coiled rage, but at least he has to do it in the rat makeup, and he's pretty good at it.
In a weird way too. I think this is also a really interesting movie because it's like there's a lot of similarities between like a Hollywood remake and this movie. You know what I mean? Because you're taking a property that is established. A property is like a really demeaning thing to say about, I think, the 1922 Nosferatu. You're taking like a legendary film and you're trying to repurpose it into, not mainstream, but like more like of a wider appeal for today, which is like not so different than what they do with like all this crap in the studios now.
Several scenes are exact shot for shot remakes, which you were telling that story about
Psycho.
Yeah, who remade it?
Gus Van Sant.
Gus Van Sant. Yeah. Just like Herzog probably thought the same thing. He said that the original Nosferatu is the greatest German film. Yeah, so if someone's going to like do a remake, he's like, I'm going to do it myself. Yeah. And just maybe it's even almost shows his like documentarian side where he just takes like the existing property and just like does what he wants with it. Where a lot of it's just like sitting back and just letting it happen again.
So he started working on this the day that Dracula became public domain.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Which reminds me of like the guy that the day The Great Gatsby became public domain, like did you see that person that released their Muppets Great Gatsby script?
I did
on the
not.
internet?
That sounds good. Like the day it became to public domain. So
It was like Great
they were working
Gatsby
on it before.
It was like Great Gatsby had become like public domain, like the day of it. Someone was like, "You can make your own Great Gatsby movie," and literally like right after it, someone was like, "I wrote a Muppets Great Gatsby script."
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there any work that will soon be out in public domain that you want to do that for?
I don't know. I'm not really familiar with what is and is not public domain.
I believe it's 50 years after the author's death.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Something like that. Because George Orwell, because he died pretty soon after he wrote those books.
All right.
It was in public domain when we had to read like 1984 in high school.
Well, look, I'm not suggesting anything, but someone should kill Malcolm Gladwell.
All right, should we just go through this movie? Wait, do we have any Dracula things? I don't know fucking anything about Dracula, but it's we have not seen the original. I don't think the original Nosferatu.
No, I haven't seen it. It's 94 minutes. It's kind of a tough watch.
And I haven't read the book Dracula, though you.
I have. I have read the book.
Do you have
Dracula.
any memories of reading it you want to share?
I remember being really frustrated that I had to read it, and then with my conversations with you last week, it turns out we might have not had to read it because you never read it, and I thought we did it for school. No, this like hits. It hits like similar beats, but the novel is not this movie. This is not the novel.
Yeah. They changed him a lot.
Yeah, and I feel like the novel is more like them trying to kill Dracula. I feel
it's pretty epic. Like they're like tracking him down.
It's also the vampire in big quotes, like has been the vampire industrial complex in the United States has been like now it's like sexy. Do you know what I mean? Like so, yeah. Like you ever seen Interview with a Vampire?
No.
It's got like Pitt, Slater. I like how Tom Cruise is in this movie, and I just went Brad Pitt, and then I said Christian Slater for a second. Tom Cruise, the Queen, Miss Dunst, and then like obviously like we had the Twilight stuff, and now I feel like Dracula in like at least the Western world, I guess, has like really run with like the like sexuality and seduction themes of Dracula, where this is like old school, like when he sees Kinski for the first time, like he looks like a human rat, you know?
Yeah.
And like that is, at least to me, much more interesting.
I remember trying to, we were very, I think we can admit we were very confused by the plot when we watched it the first time. If he kills them, or you turn into a vampire, or now all these people are dead, what's going on? Does he represent the plague? Is the plague a coincidence? And I tried to clarify this, and all the top results were Twilight Saga Wikias.
Right.
And
yeah,
so
exactly.
I was not, I don't know how vampirism works.
It's like, did you mean to search True Blood? So like now I feel like I don't know, it's just good to see some old school, like this guy lives in a castle with a bunch of rats, and he's
so in the original Nosferatu, there's how much of this is like anti-Semitic. The 1922 Germany, where they like have this this strange Eastern European man like invading Germany and wreaking havoc. I buy it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but even in the original, like whatever, all that aside, it does represent, I think, like, and the reason I picked it over what was that other Wozek, the other Herzog Kinski
that I
Europe
believe came
movie.
out the same year.
You're right around that.
Yeah.
The reason I picked this is because there's something about, like, I guess you can call it the other, this like basically the Eastern European borderlands of like Western Europe, relatively affluent. I mean, they're literally like the opening shots, they're like sitting in a it looks like a tea party. Like they have like a nice kind of Victorian looking living. And they venture off into like the borderlands of Europe where the locals literally play creepy songs on the violin. I mean, then we're getting into Herzog's like obsession with like the exotic locals of a faraway land. But even though it's just, Transylvania, it's just in Romania, it's like he still takes the same approach that he takes when he's like doing a documentary in South America or whatever it might be. And Herzog, even if that makes him problematic or whatever, that's kind of what the original thrust of the book is about. and Klauskinski comes alive as the scary vampire who represents the foreigner at your door.
I was just really quick before we start. I was looking at like the behind the scenes photos of this. Herzog looks exactly like Jeffrey Rush directing this movie.
Okay,
Like,
I don't know if I can picture Jeffrey Rush.
Captain Barbossa. We named the monkey Jack.
Yeah. All right, I see it.
Yeah. He like back in the day.
Agreed.
Yeah. Agreed. More Jeffrey Rush references.
Excellent fainting from the person I want to bring up next is Isabella Gianni, plays Lucy. Oh, okay. I have to introduce her second because the other the Jonathan Harker is played by Bruno Ganz, well-known German actor. The only movie I've seen him in that he's most famous for is the 2004 movie Downfall, where he plays Hitler, which if you are over the age of 27, you will know from those proto memes of him in his bunker ranting that were put over like
everything.
The highway around L.A. was backed up.
Yeah.
And
Duke lost in the first round.
Exactly. He just screams and whatever. But this is a young Bruno Ganz who plays I guess he's a real estate agent. He's Jonathan Harker.
The agent.
He's the agent who goes east to do battle and get the strange Count Dracula to buy some land.
Yeah,
by the North Sea where he lives.
He's promised a large commission.
Yeah, by a goblin.
Yeah, by a straight up gargoyle.
So is he supposed to be his boss? Like it's implied. I thought in the movie it's like they know each other.
I assumed they were coworkers.
Yeah. And then he goes up to him and he just does this maniacal laugh.
It's like kind of like it's a little Danny DeVito penguin-ish.
Oh yeah.
But with probably some anti-Semitic.
There's something.
Now he was Jewish. He was Jewish himself.
Okay.
I read.
All right.
And the actor's name is escaping me, and I apologize to his family.
He's very good at his. I mean, he's a cackling.
Yeah.
And throughout the movie, like he's so his whole plan is to get Dracula to come to Germany and then link up and do whatever. So he's just kind of like cackling in a I guess like an insane asylum. Some kind of whatever passes for that in
1922,
which is just a room with like a it doesn't even lock, just a kind of heavy door that he probably can't open.
He, not to say the other's not, but like he knows exactly what movie.
Yeah. He's the he is the Alan Cummings in Eyes Wide Shut in this movie.
There's always I've seen like it must have been on Reddit or something, but it was there was a discussion based around like, have you ever seen like a movie where like all the actors like don't know what type of movie they are in except for one?
Great. Good Reddit question.
Yeah, except for like
what you got.
And like the answer that stuck with me was nobody knows what type of movie Anaconda is except for John Voight. John Voight knows exactly what movie it is, and he kills it in that.
I don't know if Klauskinski thinks about what kind of movie it is. He's just kind of.
No, I think this movie that everyone knows.
Yeah, it's pretty. But he does embody this strange cackling character who's like, yes, go to Count Dracula.
It's like, should I?
And then Bruno Ganz is just like, all right, business is business.
Commission.
It's a 4-week horse ride. All right. Goodbye, my beautiful wife.
If we're recasting this movie for today, Jared Leto is Count Dracula.
Jared Leto finally gets the role he was meant to play. Perfect for him that I think it would cause him like a like he'd have, how old is he? Quarter life crisis, a third life crisis, because he's like, I've wasted my life until now. I didn't know this kind of acting was possible.
He is playing a vampire in an upcoming movie. Yeah, called Mobius, which is
breaking news from Andrew.
Yeah, he's
news to me.
Mobius is I think he's a villain of Spider-Man. So I think it's a Sony movie because Sony has the rights for like some of the Spider-Man villains, and that's why Venom is a thing.
Okay.
I don't really know.
But he's a vampire? What superpower? Do vampires have superpowers?
I mean, they live forever, right?
Okay.
Is that
they move very slowly.
Is that true?
I assume. I don't know. Klauskinski does run a little bit. That's true.
Edward Cullen moves pretty fast.
I haven't seen Twilight.
No. Okay. It's a cultural phenomenon. I guess you missed it though.
I didn't have a sister or a girlfriend when I was a teenager, so
That's fair.
didn't see it.
Yeah. It's crazy now when you watch, like, I mean, I feel like mainstream people still are behind on the Kristen Stewart thing, but like when you watch her in those movies, you're like, it blows your mind that she just became such a talented indie darling.
Yeah. So Kristen Stewart
who might win an Academy Award this year
as Lucy.
Oh
Yeah,
just that's some stunt casting. She's the non-vampire. Yeah. I mean, they do kind of look similar.
Isabella Adjani, 5-time Caesar Award, whatever it's called, so and also 10-time Charlie Hebdo Smoke Show of the Week. It's little known, but they give out that award.
Yikes. Yeah, for all you big Europeans out there, check out Spencer coming to a theater near you.
Oh, that's the movie, Spencer?
Yeah, she plays Princess Diana, Kristen Stewart.
All right.
Heard good things from my sources in where did the movie?
Venice. You have movie sources in
Nosferatu.
You have sources in Venice?
What?
You should come to a movie festival. Maybe you should come to Berlin for the.
I know. How do I get a press pass? Can it be for this? For this podcast? Be like, yeah, I'm the movie guy.
Dude, fucking do it. We could do that.
People be like, oh, like, what's your publication? Like, what kind of films you guys write about? What they write about the Eurovision contest, you know?
Eurovision contest. We watch a lot of YouTube videos.
That's film now.
Yeah.
YouTube videos and Cherry by the Russo brothers. Yep. That's apparently, we're calling that cinema, I guess.
So Bruno Ganz.
I don't have, this is before, we're not going to get to this now because I feel like we missed it. So I just really quickly,
Please.
During your notes.
I'm going to cut it, but go ahead.
In your notes that you sent to me, it just says Dracula does the Naruto run.
Yeah, it was, he does some great physical acting in this movie, Klauskinski. He hovers, he runs, he does the reptar arms. It's trailblazing.
It's really a masterclass.
Oh, and physical acting. You were laughing at Bruno Ganz and his falling into his chair. Isabella Adjani does some great fainting. She's very convincing.
She's good. She's good. I mean, they're all good, but she has like less like out of context. It kind of looks ridiculous parts.
Yeah. Bruno Ganz, he's the most normal of the actors, which maybe is his role he's supposed to play because. Spoilers in this fucking long podcast about the movie Nosferatu. Isabella Adjani's the one who Lucy is the one who's like, realizes what's going on and you have to like kill the vampire. So maybe that's why she's like weird, like Klauskinski is.
She baits him and
she has this understanding, and she can like sense like when Bruno Ganz gets his shit sucked. In Count Dracula's castle, she wakes up in the night or whatever. Bruno Ganz, I want to get to his the castle scene. So he meets some locals who, as we said, Herzog is just like, look at these exotic creatures.
So this is before he gets to Dracula's
castle. And then he's like, I'm going to Dracula. There's a great scene where everyone's like what? You can't. And he's trying to figure out the castle just appears a day, and Bruno Ganz is still like, well, I'm gonna hike with a hippie tote bag.
They're like, you can't take your horse. She's like, all
right,
okay,
guess I'll walk.
And then he's in a cave suddenly.
He's in a cave. Somehow he gets a ride.
It's a really nice. It looks like a nice walk.
Yeah, it's beautiful hiking up in the Carpathians, I think.
So he finally gets to the castle and he meets,
and it's one. It's literally a vampire.
Yeah,
he opens the door.
When we say
I gotta close this deal.
When we say it's a vampire,
I have a 100% closure rate. I am the Alec Baldwin back at the headquarters screamed at me and said, if I don't get this deal, I can't have any coffee.
Do you want to do a quick Glengarry Glen Ross
sure.
Sidebar?
Yeah.
So that scene with Alec Baldwin is not in the play.
Oh, okay.
The coffee is for closers.
Who wrote the play?
David Mamet.
And he did the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. So he just came up with it. That's canon then. He's just like, I had a good idea I forgot to include.
No, so they told him when they were making the movie that they needed like a set piece at the beginning of the movie. Oh. So they told him there needed to be like a car crash or a car chase or like an explosion. So he was like, oh, you want something to explode? Like, I'm just going to write this part. And which is crazy because it's like, I mean, that's how many fucking idiots in acting classes probably do that monologue? You know, like
that's the role Klauskinski should have.
Yeah.
Like everyone who's like if you watch that scene on YouTube, everyone's like, I don't care what the SJWs say. This is alpha. This is how you make money.
This is some red pill shit, man.
This is and they should be saying that about Klauskinski's Dracula.
Yeah.
They should be saying this is grind set. This is Sigma This is a Sigma male.
Do you think
you have small goblins who do what they want to do?
Do you think like Baldwin was like aware that? I mean, at least in my eyes, from my point of view, like that whole scene's just like a joke on him.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I guess he's like, I guess it's kind of a joke on him because he's the youngest, right? Because they're all these like older salesmen.
Spacey probably. How old Spacey at the time?
I don't know, but it's a little like. I don't know how Mac Jones felt when you took the starting QB slot from Cam Newton, but I hope he knows like that's you one day. Like it's coming for you.
Right,
and Alec Baldwin in that scene's like, I am God. I will never be like a I am. Yeah, basically he's embodying that.
Did you
that mindset? That I mean, it's like whatever, like competition and like.
Did you follow Alec Baldwin's wife faking that she was Spanish?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. I think we talked about it on the show.
She's from around here, right?
Yes.
So listen to my
she
voice
is.
and let me know if I sound Spanish.
But
that's what
I was going to say bit, but that would be lying. But I'm a German man. I've started saying this.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm German.
Yeah, but that's fair. I feel like.
People should live their dreams.
Eventually, if I like moved down south, like I would, people would be, I'm from the south.
Yeah,
like, they would say that. You know?
You'd be a good Southerner.
Yeah, I could do it.
But I don't think do they consider themselves Southern in Lake of the Ozarks? I thought that's more Midwest.
No, I don't know what that. I think that's a weird. Like that's a weird. I don't know what you would call that.
Well, you will find a good label for yourself when you move down there. I'm sure.
I mean, I feel like I'd kill it down there.
I forgot to tell you when you were planning your road trip that like I know you were joking, but your description of like a movie where. I mean, you said it is a joke. But I'm imagining a movie where you kill yourself at the end of the road trip. It's like Deliverance and Uncut Gems combined. Like the guy's gonna kill you. You're like, this is the whole point. I'm on top of the world, baby. It doesn't matter what you do to me. That'd be a pretty good movie. You're like driving around the South and they're harassing you, and then you're like, I fucking won. I finished my road trip.
We call it Sherman's March.
A blue collar. Blue collar. What?
I just call it Sherman's March.
Oh,
that's what we call the movie.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Kind of a play on words.
Yeah, I like that. All right.
So yeah, he's in the castle.
Write that down. He's in a castle where I think you see the Kinski Herzog why he has to film with him, because Herzog has these like long shots of like clouds and a bat flying, a mountain. Cats, dead bodies. We forgot to say the movie opens with like actual like mummified bodies.
Yeah.
I think from Mexico, like
from a number of different places. To my understanding,
okay.
I think it was like more like this is the way we do death everywhere.
Like Kinski is the only actor, probably, certainly the only one Herzog came across who can like embody that scene. Like, and so the scenes at dinner when Gans is. When Harker is with Dracula, it's just like, I mean, he's supposed to play like a frightened person, but they're just staring. The way Kinski stares at him and says nothing, I just imagine Gans like turning to the camera, being like, "Is this weird? Is this normal?" And then it's like, "It's you, dude. I'm rolling."
Mm-hmm. It's crazy because like I feel like there's really good actors, like really talented people that couldn't do what Kinski does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like not to say that what Kinski's doing is superb, but it's like so. It's unique. Yeah, and it's like it's.
But like he can only. Yeah, it's almost it's so funny that like I'm fascinated by people like Kanye West, of course, who are like their art is basically saying, I'm the best. And if you say I'm the best enough, then you actually become whatever the number one seller. So it's almost like it's this like
there's a reason the Mona Lisa hangs on the Louvre.
It's like an enchanting self-fulfilling prophecy where like you called your shot and made it, so it's kind of interesting. And if you called your shot and didn't, then no one would care, no one would hear, so it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Then it falls away.
Yeah.
And Kinski, by being like I am God, Herzog is the one who's like, do whatever you want. This is you to like live it out.
Eventually he attacks.
Yeah.
He attacks.
He cuts himself in honestly took me out of the movie because no German would doing a classic bread cutting. Oh, here's a Reptar scene. no self-respecting German would cut their hand that way.
No self-respecting German would run through an empty plaza just chasing
That's where
birds.
you're wrong. That's where you're wrong, bitch. He would. And then so yeah, he's bleeding, and then Dracula's like, "Yo."
He's like, "Yo, hit me up."
Yeah, can I
get a little bit?
Can I get a lick?
Yeah.
Can I get a piece of that? He somehow like blacks out and then he blacks out and then doesn't remember, or he thinks it's a dream.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dream sequences that like I'm like, oh, that was a dream sequence.
Right.
That was 20 minutes. I thought that was the plot.
I always like that though.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind.
A fan of that.
Well, he's like playing tricks on you, the director. You know, it's like, you got me again. You got to keep up. So that happens a couple times where he's like, oh, it's daytime and I can't find the Dracula. What happened to him?
Yeah.
And then like it's nighttime again and Dracula's there and he's like,
and then
have some food again.
So does he get eventually is he like trapped in the house?
I guess so.
Physically or like metaphorically or like spiritually? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Is there some sort of like spell upon where he can't leave the castle and that's why he has to jump out the window, or is it just like literally he's locked in? Like,
I don't.
Okay.
I like your spiritual.
Yeah, I kind of felt
spiritual
like there was
idea.
something a little more going on there.
Yeah.
And it would line up with I think the overall vibe of the
that happens after he signs the document to buy the land, sight unseen.
Yeah,
just because he sees a picture of Lucy. in Bruno Ganz's locket and is like, oh,
1979.
I gotta slide in. Yeah, I gotta slide in the DMs. Doesn't matter how much it costs. He eventually jumps out of the castle and a boy plays the violin in an extremely creepy way.
Which I actually
it was cool.
Yeah,
it's just
cool.
he's just playing like Hot Cross Buns or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. But again, nails it. There's also there's this like music all throughout the movie again and again.
Like it's what I only imagine. It's like pre Hans Zimmer stuff that's going. Yeah. It's cool.
Did I tell you? My brother was telling me about this, that like all of John Williams's music is like ripped from classic composers. Do you know about this? This reached the film world.
That would surprise me. That he kind of just like riffs off.
Like, like if these composers were Mick Jagger, Hans Zimmer would be broke. They could just ripped them all off. He's lucky that 19th century Czechs aren't litigious.
Right, but it's not like also like I don't know about you, and I can't speak for everyone, but like I can't imagine like people go to Spotify to listen to John Williams. Do you know what I mean?
I guess
he's presenting his movie through the as like a supplement to the film, so it's a little.
Anyway, check that out. John Williams steals beats. So when Dracula, just before Dracula gets to Germany, two notes. One, he packs his baggage is just like 20 coffins and nothing else. Is a scene of the coffins floating down the river. He's like, that's my. Do I have to pay extra for that? Is that included in my seat? The second is that once Bruno Ganz comes to, he's like, I have to get back home. Dracula's. I think at this point he's realized like, oh, he bit me, and I'm.
And he knows that he took a special interest in Lucy's picture,
exactly. Which results in. Like, as you said, on paper, a Hollywood chase scene.
Yeah. By the script, like the way that Herzog presents this in, I don't know, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. Like Doug Liman would do it, something like that. Just like Herzog's chase scene. Like it's literally like a scene where like Count Dracula and Harker are both racing to get back to the German. Yeah,
Harker's sick. He's got like the flu. I mean, I guess he's turning into a vampire. Spoilers. But he's like, so he's trying to do that. And the boat starts from the Black Sea. So it's like over the mountains. So they float down the river to the Black Sea. And he's got to go all the way around the Mediterranean, North Sea, into the Baltic to get to Germany. So it's like.
But instead of like rising action and like tension and upbeat music and kind of like a race against the clock, it's like this very like calm, serene, like.
I wouldn't call it serene.
You would call it serene?
It's like, oh
yeah, but like when that boat's on the ocean, man.
With the boats, everyone's dying on the boat.
But you don't see that.
Actually, you don't see it. The guy ties himself to the steering wheel, and we're like,
shades of serenity. Shades of serenity.
And then the boat, just like lands in the harbor. Everyone on board is dead, and Dracula, because he sleeps during the day.
Yeah, he was. I assume he was in the coffin underneath. In the
Yeah.
ships.
So he comes out at night and I guess like sucks their blood and goes back in.
Yeah, smart.
So everyone's
smart.
yeah, that's just good strategy.
So then everyone's back. So there's like they think it's the plague, right?
Okay, so is that symbolically the plague? Does he bring the plague? Is like, oh, by the way, there were rats, because in the 20 coffins it's just dirt and rats, and so then the rats go across the city and it's the plague and everyone starts dying.
Yeah.
And in one little corner of the city, a very sick Jonathan Harker, Bruno Gans, arrives back, and then he's like, "Who is this? Who is this woman?" And then Lucy faints, and
right.
Then he's just sick sitting in the corner.
Yeah, and Van Helsing's there.
Yeah, Van Helsing.
Which is
Werner Herzog takes, as you said in the original Dracula, Van Helsing's like
he's like a badass.
Yeah, but he's also like I will like he's like fucking General Custer. Like I'm going to the frontier and fucking burning and looting and just wrecking shit.
And then like Herzog flips it completely
Herzog,
and makes
just
him
I don't know. He's like a police chief in a Dirty Harry movie. He's like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
This is and then Lucy's like, tell me, punk. No. So the rats. Do you want to share the story with the rats?
No, you can do it. You send it to me. Take credit. I didn't write it down either, so.
So if I've cut this podcast correctly, you're aware that Werner Herzog loves torturing animals.
loves rats.
he loves doing insane things with nature or whatever, and just like the power of animals. He has many examples of this throughout his movie and throughout his filmography. In this movie, so there's several scenes with rats, like once they're back in Germany, and it's like, wow, it's creepy. There's like 100 rats in that room.
And as soon as Dracula comes to Germany, the rats become like a very important part of. I shouldn't a very important part. It's a little overstated. There's fucking rats everywhere. Okay,
but it like represents the plague, I guess, because you don't see people dying. Everyone's just like. There's a good shot of all these like coffins trailing through the town square.
I thought those shots are those.
Those are the best shots in the town square, especially when there's like 1,000 rats in a town square.
Which we were saying like when we were watching it like today, like you would literally like put a rat in like a room in Burbank, film it, and then you would just replicate it and put it all out there. But like it's 1979, so Herzog was like, "Yo, you know what I need? I need 8,000. How many?
11,000.
11,000 rats."
How did he reach that number?
Just let him, and that's why they wouldn't let him film in Germany. That's why he had to go to the Netherlands because they were like,
So it's so he filmed most of the movie in Delft, in the I'm saying it like German. I don't know, Delft in the Netherlands, where he originally relocated because he couldn't film it in Wismar, which is where Burnau's is filmed and set, moving away from the English context of the original novel. Delft said refused to allow Herzog to release 11,000 rats into the city. He just like lets them go on stage. So
like, he's a king.
I guess
king.
I guess a town in the Netherlands that like is being hit by deindustrialization or like the factory left town called Schiedam. And like, you could release 11,000 rats here because that's our only economy. It's just like Uber drivers and bike delivery people. Like, these are the only jobs left. They're swerving to avoid rats. They've grown and like they've mutated into like a new rat population. Releases 11,000 rats into the city, and I gotta say, gets good shots out of it. So like he's just like, there are more rats.
It looks really
They're
good.
fucking everywhere. And as the plague expands across the city,
it's the movie Ratatouille wishes it was.
The best parts of the movie are like the like half dream sequence, half reality, where the plague is expanding. There's rats everywhere, which makes it a quarantine movie where she's walking around the town square. There's just like pigs and sheep walking around, and people are like dancing and burning stuff.
Yeah, I actually thought this was like, obviously, quote unquote end of the world is like a big thing in cinema now, and I thought this was a pretty good like take on what would actually be happening. It reminded me of a movie that I didn't like so much and that nobody will believe that I'm talking about, but a movie called Seeking the End of the World.
Seeking a Friend for the End of the World.
You know what that movie?
Yes,
with
it's always
Keira
recommended on like
and
Netflix
Steve Carell. It was like there's a giant asteroid coming to the Earth, and like you would think people were gonna start doing like important stuff, but really they just like have house parties and have like sex with people outside of out of their league and stuff. And like the scene where they're just like in the town square, like, and there's like rats everywhere, and they're just like drinking and like eating. Like that's probably what I would do. Like,
yeah, probably.
Like, well, what are we bothering with this
I don't
for?
care about the rat as much. I guess that's the premise of that new Adam McKay movie. Have you seen that?
Yeah, the Mars Attacks ripoff.
Yeah. Mars
Don't
Attacks.
look up. Yeah.
I've seen Mars Attacks. We should watch it again.
Yeah. I just watched it.
I have it on VHS. We watched it all the time.
You have Mars Attacks on VHS?
We watched it a lot
That's
as
awesome.
kids.
It's so funny how bad like the effects are like now in like retrospect.
I only remember the scene where the aliens are watching someone have sex, and then they fog up the window, and then they wipe their fog so they could keep watching. I thought that was pretty cool when I was 8.
You know what people don't do as much anymore is that they'll do dual roles in like a drama, like that Mark Ruffalo limited series I was talking about, where he's playing like kind of like twin brothers, and like Tom Hardy did it for that movie Legend, and like obviously Nick Cage did it for Adaptation, and like not exactly drama, but like Jack Nicholson and Mars Attacks just doing like a straight up like I'm playing the president, I'm also playing this like redneck casino manager, like, and there's no reason for it whatsoever.
I think I probably didn't get that when I watched it.
And he's just playing. He's just like doing like an old Peter Sellers thing. You know what I mean? Like that should be. People should do that more.
Yeah,
you know?
why not?
Yeah,
it's good. It's
like
it's good fun.
Give me the Nutty Professor 3.
Also, aren't you all like megalomaniacal, like narcissist actors? You can do every role.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, and it's Jack too. It's not like you're going to watch it and you're like, oh, like can't wait to see Jay Baruchel play dual roles here. You know, like it's fucking Jack, dude. Like, yeah, he's yeah. So this is definitely a quarantine movie. And I wrote down, I was like, people originally thought Contagion was a quarantine movie, and then they were like, no, it's Jaws because of the mayor and like the reaction to the shark. How the mayor was like, the beaches will remain open, like that stuff.
Right.
And then now our stance is that Jaws is not the real quarantine movie, but it's Nosferatu the Vampire. And if you tune in next week, you're going to realize that we were wrong the whole time. And the real quarantine movie is The Happening.
The real Jaws is the best quarantine movie because the mayor does have to resign because he was inappropriate with many female staffers. You know, he went viral at the beginning of the attacks.
Yeah, and his brother wouldn't get off CNN.
The mayor would go up to like
wouldn't stop talking about shark attacks.
The parks, and it's set in Martha's Vineyard or just filmed there?
It's Amity Island, which is
he goes up to women who are like, you know, a park ranger on Amity Island. They're like, I may not be a shark, but I'd bite you.
Yeah. Once again, I don't want to be John Krasinski at the party here, but like, how fucking great is Jaws?
All right, guys, watch Jaws. You always come out of these.
Welcome to our 14-year-old podcast. Raiders is a perfect movie. Jaws is awesome.
And dude, we watched smart movies.
Do you guys know Jared Leto?
We watched smart movies like Werner Herzog. So Plague's the best part, and that takes us to the end of the movie, man.
Yeah, that's about it.
There's two showdowns, like
yeah,
Pacino and De Niro in Heat, where it's Lucy, Isabella Johnny, and
there's like a 3-second pause right there where I was like, do the Pacino voice, do it, and then I just decided to skip it. So eventually Lucy kind of baits him and sacrifices herself.
Well, the first scene, he's like, you're so beautiful, queen. I want to suck your blood, please. Yeah. And then she's like, no. And he slinks away. There's like a dramatic she's like, I've lost my because Jonathan Harker's like a zombie. She's like, I've lost my love, and he's like he will die, and she's like lamenting death, and he's like, it's worse to like never be able to die. And then in the second showdown scene, she's read a book that says like, you know, they have to be exposed to light, and so she lies in bed like waiting, you know, so he'll come in. And then he not only, you know, falls for it, he takes a bite. She draws him in for a second bite. And so you have a great scene of Klauskinski just like, you know, like literally looking like a rat, like eating at her. And coincidentally, it's on screen right now. One of the top death scenes in any movie. Yeah. Like the sun starts shining in, and then I guess in the book he like dissolve or something.
Turn to dust.
Yeah, you turn to dust.
Yeah, that's classic vampire. You turn into dust.
And then he's just like, what, like 15-second close up, staring into the camera.
His eyes are, he's blinded now,
and then just falls.
And he essentially has the same seizure my dog does, and then dies.
That's not the end of the movie.
No. You know what I also miss? Like, and not to say this movie is a huge proponent of it, but like, I miss when they didn't have just they just didn't have computers to fix stuff.
Uh-huh.
They just had to be like, oh, can we make him turn into dust? And it's like, nope. It's like, well, better just kill him the regular way.
Yeah.
Then, you know. And now it would be some dumb. He'd turn into dust. And it would look dumb,
he would.
You know?
He would. The very end of the movie is that Bruno Ganz, who is trapped in the corner, he's like, when you get bit by a vampire, you sit in a chair in the corner of the room in timeout for weeks on end.
So what is she sprinkling? Is that supposed to be garlic? Is that what?
Like that.
I'm not.
Something.
I don't know enough to.
I don't know. You know, when it's like dating in New York so hard, every girl's like wants to tell you about the best ways to stop vampires, but I just don't listen.
Oh, you're from Queens?
She sprinkles something around him, and then I guess she dies. Like she sacrifices herself to kill the vampire. And then a great scene where he's just like, sweep this up because he's like stuck in the corner.
Jumps
and he's like, hey, and like leaps out.
And kind of leaves in on a bit because he like demands that they arrest Van Helsing.
Yeah,
for killing the vampire.
Yeah.
But he's the vampire now. He's the new Count Dracula.
Yeah.
So
and then he rides off into the sunset like
it's
like
kind of
Joaquin Phoenix and the Master.
I also think like there's something getting back to Kinski just really briefly. I think there is something a little, and it really depends on your POV, but you make Boogie Nights, right? And the entire time, like, Burt Reynolds is just the worst person to work with.
Yeah.
And he thinks the movie's shit, and he thinks it's crap, and he yells at you, and he thinks Paul Thomas Anderson is, he thinks Paul Thomas Anderson's a know-it-all, blah, 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 blah. And it's a nightmare to work with him. And then after you see Boogie Nights and you're like, I guess as an artist sometimes, like at least what I'm trying to put myself in Herzog's mindset is like he sees some of the performances he gets out of Kinski and he's like, it was worth it.
Yeah.
Like it's like that's like a real something I kind of, I don't know, you want to explore it. Like you want to, how do I say this? It's like fucked up because like it's like, yeah, I don't want to put myself through hell with this guy for 9 months. But then like at the end of it, it's like, damn, like made some great stuff. Like
it forces you to ask like, what are we here for?
Yeah,
you know. And then at the end of it, you were like
the process.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I wanted to be. It's also a little masochistic. Like, yeah, I wanted to. If you make my life hell and it produces a great movie, like you kind of have to have that feeling as a director, right? To like be like, yeah, that's what I wanted to go through to make my movie.
And his movie, I mean, he made like literally like movies that will live forever with Kinski. And
that's what being a vampire is all about.
Exactly.
You can't die. You're forced to just be an actor. You're forced to act out for attention.
You guys thought that vampire culture had gone away, but after the Eternals, Chloe Zhao, famed daughter of billionaire, she's doing a Dracula adaptation that's been described as sci-fi western.
Wow, it's coming back. That's what I'm saying. This is a western. I mean, in Europe it's an eastern because it's the far off land of the east. But
it's got heavy.
Yeah.
And then Karen, it's either Kusama. I'm very sorry. She directed Destroyer, which is a movie Nicole Kidman was in, and then probably people would know her better from a little movie called Jennifer's Body. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know
she's doing a Dracula movie as well that she says is going to be. I think she said it was more faithful to the book. So, I think she's.
I didn't know that. So there's a little synergy.
Jennifer's Body is fucking lit, dude. That movie kicks ass.
So we kind of nailed it. Nosferatu represents the pinnacle of cinema. Represents being European and trying to do art.
Yeah,
and it represents vampires are coming back.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, have a better performance in the Euros next time around.
Werner Herzog should be the coach of the German national team. He would
watch.
He would discipline them.
Yeah.
Honestly, if they just don't start that fucking who was the old ass guy on the German team?
That's out of my league. Schweinsteiger?
No, he's retired. It's the other one. He sucked. I don't watch soccer.
Ozil?
No. He left. No, he's not on the team because
this is like so painful. Like imagine like a couple Germans being, you know, listen to like who's the quarterback for the Buccaneers? You know,
American version would be Nosferatu would be like Pineapple Express. And
yeah.
that would be
Go with this. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to pick up your weed on the other side of the city. And it's a 4-week journey. And then Nosferatu, he's kind of weird, you know, but he has the best weed.
He's the best weed. Yeah,
that's why you have to go to him. Yeah. And that makes Amber Heard, Lucy. All right, that was another movie.
Do I have anything to promote?
That was another movie episode.
Yeah, to promote. Sure. Last Friday, I don't know about international markets, but Paul Schrader's The Card Counter came out.
Yes,
I'm going to promote that.
Yeah, me too. I'm piggybacking off that.
And then
The Card Counter. You an Oscar Isaac fan?
It wouldn't be that much different, but Johnny Knoxville would have 3 Oscars by now.
Sure,
for
exactly.
Jackass 2.
Has Herzog ever talked about Jackass? That seems like something he would like.
I believe it. I feel like that would.
Well, because he there's a quote he loves trash TV.
Yeah.
And Jackass is like pushing the bounds of physical acting in a way that he would. Respect.
I love that shit, dude. I like looked at my. Did you see Bad Trip this year, the Eric Andre movie?
No.
So it's kind of has like some Jackass energy in it, and like it was so fucking good, like. But those guys are like. I mean, that's like, we joke about it. Like, those guys are like, they're pioneers.
Yeah.
Those guys are,
yeah.
I have so much respect for those guys. You know, it's like one of those things where, like, Richard Jenkins will never walk down the street and everyone will clamor over him. But, like, 40 years from now, people will, like, talk about him. Like he's like Harry Dean Stanton. You know?
Oh, yeah?
People, Richard, he's incredible. Damn. He's incredible. Yeah. You should watch this guy go. It's amazing. You ever seen there's like 20 things you can just name. Like Richard Jenkins is just as good in Burn After Reading as he is in The Visitor, as he is in Step Brothers, and those 3 movies are like
true.
Over the place, like.
True. Respect, man.
So yeah, I'll promote Richard Jenkins, Pride of Providence, Rhode Island.
Is he actually?
He's not from here, but he worked here forever.
Oh, yeah. Nice. All right.
Where
are we then? Goodbye.